You're not lazy. You're burned out by a sick society. Have you ever sat alone at night, wondering why you can't keep up? Why you feel tired all the time? No matter how much you do, no matter how hard you try, you scroll through your phone, watching people hustle, succeed, and shine, while you can't even get out of bed without feeling like something inside you is broken. You think, I'm lazy. Everyone else can do it. Why can't I? But what if I told you, you're not the problem? Society is sick. Carl Jung once said, the most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. And yet, this world doesn't want you to accept yourself. It wants you to perform, to produce, to keep moving, even when your soul is begging for rest. This is not laziness. This is survival. There's a quiet war inside you. Part of you wants to slow down, breathe, feel. But the world punishes the slow. It glorifies the machine. You were never taught to rest. Useful to your job, useful to your family, useful to a system that feeds off your exhaustion. You learn to measure your worth and output. More productivity, more sacrifice. And when you can't keep up, the guilt eats you alive. A sick system makes you sick. Jung believed we all carry a collective shadow, the hidden parts of humanity we refuse to face. This culture's shadow is the lie that your value is your work, that your exhaustion is noble, that your burnout is proof of your loyalty. But here's what they don't tell you. A sick system only survives if you believe you're the sick one. So, you pour another cup of coffee. You tell yourself to just push through. You ignore the tension in your chest, the ache in your bones, the quiet voice that says, we can't live like this anymore. Your body is not lazy. It's screaming when you feel numb, unmotivated, burned out. Your mind calls you lazy, but your body knows the truth. You re-tired because you've given parts of yourself to people and systems that only take. You re-exhausted because you're constantly fighting who you really are. Someone who needs rest, play, silence, connection. But the modern world doesn't care about your soul. It cares about your output. You think you're failing. But what if I told you? This is not failure. This is your spirit's rebellion. What if you're not broken? What if the parts of you that resist, procrastinate, shut down, are the healthiest parts of you? The parts that remember you're human, that you're not a machine, that your worth was never supposed to be tied to your productivity. Jung said, people will do anything, no matter how absurd, to avoid facing their own souls. Maybe your burnout is the moment you finally face yours. The lies they feed you to keep you tired. So if you're not the problem, why do you feel like it every single day? Because you were taught to. Since you were a child, you were praised for ignoring yourself, for staying quiet when you wanted to scream, for working harder when you needed rest, for saying yes when every cell in your body wanted to say no. Carl Jung wrote that what we deny becomes our shadow, and the modern world is built on collective denial. We pretend humans are machines. We deny our natural limits. We hide our need for silence, nature, connection. We replace it with screens, endless noise, and shallow validation. The shadow of productivity. Look around. Be more, buy more. Your feed is filled with people showing you their highlight reels, million-dollar businesses. And you're sitting in bed, scrolling, thinking, what's wrong with me? But here's the truth. Most of it is a lie. They don't show you the burnout, the anxiety, the pills they pop to keep functioning. They don't show you the nights they can't sleep, the relationships falling apart, the hollow feeling that more is never enough. A sick society calls you lazy when you refuse to break yourself. When your body says enough, they call you lazy. When your soul wants to rest, they call you unmotivated. When you question the endless race, They label you a failure. Because if you stopped playing the game would crumble. So they convince you the problem is you, not the system. Who profits from your burnout? Jung believed every individual has a shadow, but we also have a collective shadow. The unseen sickness of our culture. This burnout society is a parasite. It feeds on your fear of not being enough. It feeds on your guilt. It feeds on your comparison to others. Every ad you see is a whisper. You're not enough yet. But you could be if you just work harder. And so you run faster, sleep less, scroll more, spend more. Until you forget the question. Enough for who? The system needs you numb. Why do you think mindless scrolling is free? Why do you think the news is always fear and outrage? Why do you think hustle culture is glamorized? Because a numb, tired, divided population is easier to control. You're too busy blaming yourself to see who's profiting from your exhaustion. You don't question the lies. You question your worth. And that's exactly how they want you. Jung's truth. Freedom begins when you face the shadow. Jung said, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." If you want to heal, you can't just say affirmations and push harder. You have to look at the sickness that surrounds you and refuse to carry it anymore. You have to see that you're tired because you're human, not because you're broken. How to stop feeding a sick society. You've seen it now. You feel it in your bones. You're not broken. The system is. But how do you live in this world without letting it kill your soul? How do you wake up when everyone around you stays asleep? It starts small. It starts inside. Truth. Rest is rebellion. Rest is not laziness. Rest is an act of defiance in a world that profits from your exhaustion. When you choose to rest, truly rest, you retelling the system. I will not be your endless machine. You are reclaiming what they stole from you. Stillness, peace, joy that doesn't come with a price tag. Jung wrote that individuation is becoming who you truly are, not who the world told you to be. Rest reconnects you to that truth. Truth. Limit your exposure to the noise. They keep you numb through constant noise. Every scroll, every headline, every algorithm. It's designed to keep you distracted. So, limit it. Turn off the feed that feeds off you. Mute the voices that make you feel less than human. Reconnect with silence. Listen to what your mind tries to say when you read, not bombarded with other people's thoughts. You'll feel the withdrawal at first, like an addict without a fix. But beyond the discomfort is freedom, truth. Honor your body like it's sacred. The culture wants your body to be a tool for productivity, a vessel that sacrifices itself for profit. But your body is your home. And it's been speaking to you for years. Those headaches, that anxiety, that fatigue that sleep doesn't fix. That's your body begging you to come back. Feed it well. Move it gently. Rest it deeply. You don't need to earn the right to do this. You were born with it. Truth. Redefine success. Who told you that success is always more? More money, more followers, more hustle, more achievement. Who profits from that story? What if success is waking up and feeling light in your chest? What if it's having energy left for people you love? What if it's working from your soul, not your wounds? Jung would say, until you know what's yours and what's theirs, you live someone else's life. Redefining success is reclaiming your life. Truth. Community heals what the system breaks. This system isolates you, makes you think you're alone in your struggle. But the moment you speak your truth, you realize there are thousands, millions, just like you, tired, lonely, hungry for real connection. Find your people, not the ones who compete with your exhaustion, but the ones who remind you that you're more than what you produce. You don't need to burn yourself to be enough. If they need you exhausted to feel good about themselves, leave. If they call you lazy because you choose rest, ignore them. If they guilt trip you for setting boundaries, protect your peace. You don't owe your life to a system that would replace you tomorrow. You're not the problem. You can be the cure. So now, you see it. You were never lazy. You were never the problem. You were a soul trying to stay alive in a system that feeds on your burnout. And here, ask what Carl Jung would say. The only way to heal the world is to heal yourself first. The shadow doesn't just exist out there, in corporations, governments, or culture. It lives inside you, too. Every time you push yourself to please them, every time you ignore your body's cries, every time you swallow your truth to fit in, you heal the world by choosing you. Every boundary you set is a crack in the armor of a sick society. Every nap you take, guilt-free, is a protest. Every time you choose silence over scrolling, real connection over performance, presence over perfection, you become the cure. You don't need to fix everyone. You don't need to change the whole world. You need to come home to yourself. What this looks like: you rest when you're tired. You spend time with people who love you beyond your productivity. You work from your soul, not your fear. You stop performing worthiness. You stop feeding what drains you. And slowly, your body starts to trust you again. Your mind softens. Your nervous system settles. You realize your life belongs to you now. Yes, some people won't get it. They'll call you lazy. They'll mock your peace. They'll say you've changed, as if that's a bad thing. They are mirrors of the system you're leaving behind. Freedom always looks like rebellion to those still enslaved by the lie. The final truth: one day, you'll look back and wonder why you spent so long apologizing for being tired. You'll see that your so-called laziness was your soul's way of surviving. Your burnout was the alarm bell. Your procrastination was a protest. You weren't failing. You were waking up. Jung's last gift to you. Carl Jung taught that individuation, becoming whole, requires you to meet your shadow, not just your light. So next time you feel that exhaustion, don't call yourself lazy. Ask, what am I doing that goes against my nature? Next time you feel the guilt for resting, whisper. Next time you feel unworthy, remember, you were born enough. You don't have to earn it. A quiet revolution. You are not the problem. And the moment you stop believing you are, you stop feeding the sickness. You become the cure. Not through force, but through truth. That's how we heal the collective shadow. One soul, one boundary, one act of gentle rebellion at a time. If this spoke to you, comment below. I am not the problem. Share this with someone who feels like they're failing when they're really just exhausted. Subscribe for more reminders that your worth was never tied to how much you can sacrifice. And let me ask you, how much of your exhaustion is really yours? And how much belongs to a sick world you no longer have to carry?